She was once the target of mockery and headlines. Now, she's the definition of grace under fire. There are few names in modern history that evoke as many memories, judgments, and emotions as Monica Lewinsky. For years, she existed as a punchline in late-night monologues, the face of a scandal she never fully controlled. But today, that same woman has become the embodiment of survival, growth, and self-respect. At 52 years old, Monica has returned to the spotlight on her own terms. She's not chasing attention or trying to rewrite history, she's simply standing in her truth. Her recent public appearances, captured by photographers and shared across social media, have sparked a wave of admiration. The world isn't gawking this time, it's applauding. NHER photos reveal a woman who isn't hiding behind camera angles or airbrushed illusions. She steps out wearing figure-flattering, elegant outfits that celebrate her natural form. She smiles, not to please anyone, but because she's finally comfortable in her own reflection. And in an era obsessed with manufactured perfection, that kind of confidence feels almost rebellious. There was a time when every image of Monica came with commentary, people dissecting her expression, her weight, her clothes, even the way she walked. The scrutiny was relentless. She became the unwilling symbol of how cruel the digital age could be, yet through years of public shame and silence, she quietly rebuilt herself. Slowly, steadily, she transformed pain into purpose. What makes this new chapter remarkable isn't just how she looks, it's how she carries herself. The posture, the poise, the unspoken declaration that says, "I've survived worse than your judgment." Every photo radiates a sense of peace, earned through endurance. It's as if the storm that once tried to destroy her now fuels the light around her. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It took decades of introspection, advocacy, and courage. Monica has used her voice to expose the darker side of online culture, bullying, humiliation, and the long-term scars they leave behind. But her recent resurgence isn't a campaign. It's a quiet revolution. She's proving that you can reclaim your name, even when the world tried to stain it forever. Think about it. How many people could live through global ridicule and still emerge dignified? Very few. Yet here she is, not demanding sympathy, but commanding respect. Her presence today isn't a comeback in the traditional sense. It's a continuation of a story that never ended, just evolved. She's showing that redemption doesn't always arrive wrapped in apology or revenge. Sometimes it arrives in the form of acceptance of your body, your past, and your power. When Monica walks into a room now, she doesn't need validation. The energy around her says everything. She belongs here. NTHE fascination surrounding her new images isn't rooted in gossip, it's rooted in admiration. People are inspired by how real she looks, how free she seems, how unapologetically human she remains. In a world that rewards filters and facades, Monica's authenticity feels revolutionary. NHER's story has become a mirror for anyone who has ever been defined by a single mistake or a public judgment. She's living proof that you can outgrow the narrative written for you, that time, self-love, and resilience can rewrite even the harshest headlines. And perhaps that's the real reason her return is shaking the internet. It's not about fame. It's about power, the quiet kind that comes from knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone rewrite that again. She's not chasing approval. She's not seeking closure. She's showing the world what it looks like to move forward without bitterness, and that in itself is its own kind of victory. NHER re-entry into public life is more than a fashion statement or a viral moment. It's a reminder that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply stands tall, smiles, and lets the world see that it survived. This is Monica Lewinsky's second act, and she's owning every frame of it. She turned humiliation into healing, and her silence into strength. NFOR years, Monica Lewinsky's name carried a weight that few could imagine. Every whisper, every joke, every late-night punchline became another reminder of how unforgiving the world can be. But instead of letting that narrative crush her, she learned to reshape it, not by denying her past, but by embracing it as part of who she's become. NHER reinvention didn't start on a red carpet or in front of flashing cameras. It began in private, in the quiet corners of self-reflection, far away from the noise that once defined her. After spending years out of the public eye, Monica emerged with something more powerful than revenge: perspective. She saw how the early internet treated her as a test subject for ridicule, how public shaming became entertainment, and she decided that her story could serve as a warning and a guide for future generations. NSHE began speaking publicly about cyberbullying, humiliation, and empathy, subjects she understood not from theory, but from experience. When she took the stage at TED Talks, her voice didn't tremble. It resonated. Because when someone who's lived through global humiliation tells you what it feels like, people listen. Her message wasn't angry or vengeful. It was compassionate, rooted in the belief that everyone deserves dignity. And that's the real magic of her transformation, grace. She could have vanished forever, become a recluse, or fought back with bitterness. But instead, she chose to rise differently. She built a reputation on vulnerability and wisdom, qualities that no scandal could erase. NHER advocacy work has touched millions. Whether she's producing documentaries about digital cruelty or participating in conversations about women's rights and media accountability, Monica has shifted from being a cautionary tale to being a catalyst for change. She's no longer the story, she's the storyteller. In her recent interviews, Monica doesn't dwell on the past, she analyzes it. She speaks about how easy it is for society to dehumanize people, especially women, when they become part of a headline. She reminds audiences that behind every meme, every trending hashtag, there's a real human being with a heartbeat, a family, and a history. NBUT, what truly resonates with fans today isn't just her activism, it's her authenticity. The same woman, once mocked for her body, her choices, her emotions, now stands unapologetically herself. Her fashion choices, once scrutinized to humiliation, are now statements of confidence. She's not dressing to impress anyone, she's dressing for herself. When Monica walks into an event now, she's not seeking forgiveness, she's claiming space. The same world that once told her to disappear now photographs her with admiration. And in every image, there's a quiet message. I survived you, and I'm thriving anyway. What people are responding to isn't just her physical transformation, it's the emotional armor she's built. Every headline that once hurt her has become another layer of resilience. Every insult thrown her way now glances off because she knows who she is, and that truth can't be rewritten. It's fascinating how time can shift perspective. The same generation that once judged her harshly now sees her as a pioneer, one of the first women to endure the full wrath of the internet and live to tell the tale. Today's social climate has changed. Empathy has grown. But it took voices like Monica's to make that possible. And as for the younger generation discovering her story for the first time, they're not seeing a scandal. They're seeing strength. They see a woman who endured the harshest spotlight imaginable and used it to illuminate issues that matter. They see resilience wrapped in elegance, a survivor who turned shame into purpose. NHER's story now serves as a mirror for anyone who's ever been judged, mocked, or misunderstood. It tells them that even the deepest humiliation can't define your worth. You can be broken, criticized, or cast aside, and still come back stronger, wiser, and louder than before. Every interview she gives, every public appearance she makes, is layered with that message. You are allowed to outgrow your past. You are allowed to love yourself after the world tried to make you hate yourself. And most importantly, you are allowed to stand tall, no matter what label they once gave you. This is what makes Monica Lewinsky's reinvention so powerful. It's not rooted in revenge, but in peace. She isn't trying to rewrite history. She's trying to teach from it. She isn't denying who she was. She's proving who she's become. NTHE woman, once silenced by shame, is now speaking with clarity. The one who was reduced to a scandal is now expanding into a legacy. Her story reminds us that true reinvention doesn't come from erasing the past. It comes from owning it completely. Because when you stop hiding from your story, that's when it stops controlling you. Then Monica Lewinsky has done exactly that. The world once tried to destroy her reputation. Now it celebrates her resilience. When Monica Lewinsky's new photos hit the internet, something remarkable happened. The world didn't react with mockery or scandal. Instead, it paused, admired, and applauded. The comments were flooded not with jokes, but with praise. Words like iconic, fearless, and timeless filled the threads. For the first time in decades, Monica's name wasn't attached to shame. It was attached to empowerment. And it was as if the internet, the very thing that once amplified her humiliation, was finally giving her a standing ovation. People were sharing her story again, not to relive the past, but to celebrate how far she's come. And that shift speaks volumes about not only Monica's evolution, but also about how society itself has changed. And this time, the headlines weren't written to provoke, they were written to praise. Outlets describe her as a vision of strength and the embodiment of self-respect. Social media users called her photos a masterclass in confidence. And fans around the world rallied behind her message. You can't erase the past, but you can outshine it. What people seem to love most is her calm, self-assured energy, the way she carries herself without bitterness. There's no trace of the anger or defensiveness people might expect. Instead, Monica radiates peace. It's the peace that comes from knowing that your worth isn't up for public debate anymore. This transformation has resonated with millions, especially women who faced judgment, body shaming, or online harassment. Her story has become a reminder that being real will always be more powerful than being perfect. One fan commented, "She's not here for revenge. She's here to remind us what grace looks like." Another wrote, "If Monica can forgive the world, maybe we can forgive ourselves." NTHAT emotional connection is what makes her comeback so impactful. It's not about fame or nostalgia, it's about healing. The same public that once dissected her is now learning from her. And that's perhaps the most poetic twist of all. NHER courage has also sparked conversations beyond celebrity circles. Activists, journalists, and educators have used her journey as an example of resilience in the face of public scrutiny. They point to her as a case study in how compassion, accountability, and forgiveness can coexist. Monica's evolution isn't just personal, it's cultural. It challenges us to rethink how we treat people in their lowest moments. And even more powerful is how she continues to use her platform. She speaks out not as a victim, but as a survivor who understands both the cruelty and the compassion of the digital age. She urges younger generations to think before they tweet, to empathize before they criticize, and to remember that words, once posted, can last forever. And perhaps that's her greatest contribution. Not her photos, her style, or her fame, but her perspective. Because when someone like Monica Lewinsky tells the world that empathy matters, people listen. She's living proof that you can transform pain into purpose and still come out radiant on the other side. Monica's journey also highlights something deeper about our culture. We often worship the idea of a comeback, but few truly understand what it costs. It's easy to post inspirational quotes about resilience, but it's another thing entirely to live it. To endure global ridicule, personal heartbreak, and decades of misrepresentation, and still stand tall with grace. Monica has lived that truth, step by step, scar by scar. NHER reemergence challenges a generation obsessed with image to value authenticity instead. She's not chasing relevance. She's redefining what relevance means. She's not begging for validation. She's showing that the most powerful validation is the kind that comes from within. The symbolism of her actual size, as fans call it, is also deeply resonant. It's not about numbers on a scale. It's about owning your presence. It's about refusing to shrink, physically, emotionally, or socially, just to fit into someone else's expectations. Her confidence has become contagious. It's a reminder that true beauty isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And maybe that's why her story has lasted this long. Because beneath all the noise, Monica Lewinsky's journey mirrors something universal: the human desire to be seen, respected, and understood beyond our mistakes. NSO, as the internet celebrates her latest chapter, the message is clear: you are not your past. You are the person who outlasted it. Monica's story isn't just about a woman who survived scandal. It's about a woman who rebuilt her legacy from the ashes of public judgment. It's about a culture finally learning to separate humanity from headlines. And it's about what happens when the world stops laughing at you and starts learning from you. NSO, what do you think? Is Monica Lewinsky living her strongest, most powerful era yet? Has she become the ultimate symbol of self-acceptance in an age of digital perfection? Drop your thoughts below. Because if her story teaches us anything, it's this: strength doesn't come from the absence of pain. It comes from the courage to rise after it. Her story began as public humiliation, but it ends as a masterclass in power, dignity, and rebirth. And as the curtain closes on Monica Lewinsky's decades-long public journey, one truth shines brighter than ever. She is no longer defined by what happened to her. She is defined by what she became after it. NHER legacy isn't just built on survival, it's built on transformation. Monica turned one of the most painful chapters in modern media history into a roadmap for resilience. She took the harshest labels ever thrown at a woman and turned them into lessons on empathy, mental health, and human dignity. That's what makes her story timeless. Because what Monica endured wasn't just personal, it was cultural. She became a symbol of how cruel public opinion could be, and in surviving it, she became the proof that we can all evolve beyond judgment. Today, she stands as a reminder that even the most misunderstood figures can reclaim their humanity. She's reshaped the conversation about accountability, forgiveness, and emotional survival. Through every interview, every appearance, and every silent act of confidence, Monica Lewinsky reminds us that shame only wins if you let it silence you. Her journey also challenges how society treats women in the spotlight. She's shown the world that a person's worth cannot be measured by their worst moment. In a culture that's quick to cancel, she's teaching the power of compassion, not as weakness, but as strength. And it's poetic in a way. The same media that once used her story for ratings now uses it as a cautionary tale. Universities teach about her case when discussing digital ethics. Documentaries quote her voice to explain the emotional cost of online cruelty. Monica has turned pain into perspective, and perspective into purpose. And through it all, she's never lost her sense of humor, her intelligence, or her empathy. Those who follow her online know she's witty, self-aware, and deeply thoughtful. A woman who has learned to live freely in a world that once tried to cage her. Her photos today are more than images. They're declarations. They say, "I'm here, I'm whole, I'm unashamed." And for millions watching, those 3 words carry more weight than any headline ever could. Because ultimately, Monica Lewinsky's story isn't just about her. It's about everyone who has ever been reduced to a rumor, everyone who has ever been laughed at, and everyone who has ever been told that one mistake defines them. She's living proof that it doesn't. NSO, as we close this chapter, let's remember what Monica taught us. That redemption isn't given, it's chosen. That strength doesn't come from perfection, but from perseverance. And that sometimes, the loudest victory doesn't come from shouting back. It comes from standing tall, smiling, and letting the world see that you survived. Monica Lewinsky didn't just reclaim her story, she rewrote the meaning of strength for an entire generation. And that is a legacy no scandal could ever erase.